Hey guys, welcome back to another Gaming Memories video. Here we are taking a look at a racing game by the name of JGTC. This is the second game in the series that is actually based on the All Japan Grand Touring Car Championship. The first game in the series opted for like a 2D isometric style game with 2D style graphics, whereas this game here opted for 3D graphics and environments. So it definitely changed up the whole idea of the concept from the original game. Now, even though the game is based off the Touring Car Championship at that time, it actually focuses, like many other touring car championships that are based around the world, where you have different tiers of cars, anything that relate from the likes of Japanese specifically cars, likes of Toyota, Mazda and so forth. And you have different other cars from other manufacturers, likes of even Ferrari, Nissan, with the Nissan Skyline, R33. And it's pretty much your mainstream type racing game, but it is more of a simulation style racing game, as although the emphasis is on winning, you do have to be very strategic in terms of how you actually race the cars. Compared to other racing games that were on the PlayStation, this game is actually quite difficult to actually play. Now, this game was released in 1998 and it only was seen and was only released in Japan only. It never got a release outside of Japan. There are actually more games that were released in Japan that are very similar to this, all under different branded names and so forth, and some of them do look quite similar. They do use similar types of vehicles, similar like racing aesthetics, even handling characteristics. This is just one of many that was released on the system. There is actually so many games or racing games that were actually released in Japan that actually a lot of us would never have even known about. It's only in recent years that they are becoming more familiar to wider audiences, and the fact is that we can now download them and play them using the likes of the latest and updated emulators. It gives us the option to be able to actually gain access to these games, to actually try them out. A lot of these games you can actually get them on eBay, but some games are, even though they're quite cheap, but a lot of other games demand very high prices, so some of them may be out of your price limit. But if that's something you're not really into doing, then maybe emulation is probably your best route to go down if you actually want to play these games. That's actually what I'm actually using here to record this video, as some of the games can actually be quite expensive, and especially when you add them all up, it can definitely cost you a lot over time very quickly. Now, the game does give you access to a load of heavily modified touring car style cars, like I mentioned, and you also have access to different race tracks that you can race on, and all from within the championship season itself. And each of the cars have their own unique handling characteristics and features. Some are faster than others, and it depends on the tier that you're actually racing in that you can actually access faster type cars and so forth. The graphics actually in the game are not too bad considering, but the one thing you'll notice is you can see that there is actually quite a lot of like lag and draw distance. As you can see, things just popping in very close to where the car is actually currently positioned. And even with the likes of the fog kind of element, it tries to manipulate how things actually perceive further down the line. It's trying to hide it, if you will, but you still see the random pop-ups of items that just pop up on the screen. But that was just a normal thing of games back in the day, and that's usually how PlayStation and even a lot of other consoles, that's how they were able to deal with all the processing of different environments, how things would actually show up on the screen. It was the only way they could really do it and use the power of the computer to whatever potential it was able to use it at the time. Now, with so many games on the PlayStation, again with 1998, you also saw the release of Gran Turismo, which is considered the best racing game pretty much of all time, the most highest grossing and highest selling racing game, and there were a lot of other racing games released at that time, so it was very hard to compete. But again, this game was released in Japan alone, so it obviously catered to that audience. But if you haven't played this game here, or if you didn't even know about it, now would actually be a good time to experience it. Having played it myself, it is actually decent, but it is difficult. It can be hard to win races on some of the more difficult tracks, especially as you can see from some of the previous recordings that the more corners and stuff like that you have to go through. The handling of the cars isn't as good at high speeds, going around like sharper corners and so forth. You nearly have to stop the car nearly almost to a standstill before you can get around the corner. The only problem with that is very hard to keep up with the rest of the pack. where I found that you had a good chance of winning is doing the likes of these oval type tracks where you could actually go with high speed. That's where you seem to be able to gain an advantage. But all in all, not a bad game, and it is actually worth trying out. And if you are interested in playing a lot more of these racing titles that were actually released in Japan, then make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon, as I am planning on exploring a lot more of these unique and quirky style racing games that were only released in Japan, and share my thoughts and experiences with everyone. So as always, make sure to keep playing those classic games and enjoying them, and keep those gaming memories alive.